Ben is locked on no Salah, no Haaland, and who are we to argue with the 26-27 FPL champion? He's revealing his team right now, right here. Welcome back to the channel, friend of the channel, Ben Crabtree, 26-2017 winner. Mate, you won FPL the year before Mo Salah joined the league, and as an Everton fan, you don't pick Liverpool players, do you?
Yeah, well, it was a lot easier then without Salah. Since he's come, then it's been much tougher. And I think, given his price over the years, I mean, first of all, he was about 9 mil, I think. So fair enough, he didn't come in at the premium price. But since then, I always feel he's been a touch underpriced, even when he's been expensive. So I'm happy that this year is more the big price that people have to pay if they want those points, and especially those kind of captain points. This is the first season that I feel like you've really got to pay for it with Salah. So I'm quite intrigued as to how the season's going to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just no Salah for you. Like, you can lose out on the field to Van Dijk or Frimpong or Wirtz or Gakpo, but that's just how you play. And look, seeing your ranks, impressive FPL history. But obviously, to win it is just different gravy. So, mate, we had such amazing feedback when you came on the channel a couple of weeks ago. So I'm delighted we can show your team. And at the end of today's video, we'll go through your team and we'll go through who is absolutely locked and where maybe you could have a change of heart. But I know, seeing you and speaking to you before we went on air, a lot of this team is locked now, which is getting very exciting. Let's crack on. Let's crack on, because we'll get to no Haaland. Let's just start with no Haaland, because I said it at the top, no Salah. Most no Salah drafts have Erling Haaland. Just talk to me a little bit about why you don't have Haaland either, because your team looks amazing without it. Is it just too good an opportunity to play differently, or where are you at with that one?
For me, he's just still a bit too expensive. I think if I go Haaland, then he's so close to the Salah price. It's very like for like, and I think Salah's a better option than Haaland. So I feel I need to go kind of quite a lot different and take the avenue that way. And I think with the way City were last season, even the Club World Cup and things like that, I'm struggling to see Haaland as worth 14 million. I think it's, if you've got kind of the anchor of 15 million, then okay, he's dropped down. But if you look at any other season, given what he did last season, you wouldn't be going Haaland should be 14 mil. So for me, 13 million, I would probably be putting him in a draft. But any more than that, I just think there's a better team without him.
I agree with that. I think they priced him too high. It's good that they gave us a decision to make. But yeah, he's only in about one every 4 teams because of that price point. We're not saying Haaland's not going to score goals. Ben and I both know he's going to score probably more than any other forward. But is he worth 14? That's a huge amount. So yeah, good, interesting take there, Ben. All right, let's see your team. Let's see your team. Because when we last spoke, you had a 4.5 goalkeeper. You've gone for a 5. Is that a value thing? You get more out of a Sanchez or a Sales, a set and forget option. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, well, when we last spoke, I had 500,000 in the bank. So I quite like having that going into game week 2. But from a keeper point of view, Sells just seemed a big upgrade on any of the 4.5s. So it just felt like get that 500,000 in the team. And Sells is just a great keeper. Forest have been good defensively in pre-season. They're obviously very good last season. Sells was brilliant last season. He's also got a great first fixture with like Brentford possibly losing 2 of the best forwards, or at least one's not happy and they've lost one. So Brentford at home seems a nice fixture for him, and he's a great keeper. So I just think it's worth that kind of structure to start the season off. I might drop down to a 4.5 if one of them kind of comes to the 4. But at the moment, I quite like, since I've put Sells in, I just like the look of that in my team. It feels like that bit of my team's done, the 5 and the 4 mil.
I've got the same structure. I've got Sanchez, but it's the same idea as you. You get more out of the 5s. I'm with you there. Guys, do hit the like button. But if you're going to do one thing today, please do subscribe to the channel. Loads of cool content we've seen, hopefully, this pre-season to justify you hitting that subscribe button with a notification bell. But also drop a comment. We had so many say such lovely stuff about Ben coming on the channel. We would love to see your comments. And if you've got any questions, I'll respond to all. The defense. Let's start with the premiums. You and I were both big on Jake O'Brien. He's 5 million. He was a cheap route to the Everton defence. We're thinking we'll get the minutes. He's a starter. But when you do more and more research on the defensive contribution points, you realise what a beast Tarkowski is. in the preseason friendly to Roma, he picked up the DEFCON points, the 10 defensive contributions after 70 minutes. Feels like the floor is 4 points with him every week now.
Yeah, there's a lot of that as to why I went him over O'Brien in the end. I had Lewis Hall in right from the beginning, and he just became a bit of a placeholder for a price, really. And when I was looking around, well, I'm going to get rid of him. Who should I get? Tarkowski just seemed to be top of the list. As that's who I should get. So then it meant I didn't really want double Everton defence. So it was O'Brien that made way. Even though I do like O'Brien as a pick, just Tarkowski probably is worth the extra $500,000. I mean, it might end up being that if he was $1 million more than O'Brien, he could be worth that much with the defensive contributions. And he is also a goal threat there. So I quite like that as a structure with the 6 mil and the 5.5 mil, Aït-Nouri and Tarkowski. And then rather than do O'Brien to another 5 mil, I've quite liked dropping him down to a 4.5 so that I've kind of maybe got 2 4.5s rotating. I'm unlikely to play a Burnley defender very much, but maybe they end up being quite good defensively and easy home games. Maybe he plays the odd one of those. But I think I quite like getting Tarkowski in, and yet I've also freed up $500,000 out of defence, which I quite like from these latest moves that I've done. I'm not sure if it will be De Kuiper as the 4.5 there, as who I did for O'Brien, but there's likes of Konsa, to a lesser extent, Dorgu, maybe Van der Ven. There's a few who I can look at there, and it'll probably just come down to fixtures as who rotates best with Wan-Bissaka, that I go for, who's also 4.5 really, and take it from there. But I am happy with Tarkowski in there.
I like you mentioned some really good 4.5 punts, like the Dorgus, the Van der Vens have been popular, but De Kuiper scored pre-season. He could even be on pens for Brighton, although you think if Welbeck's on the pitch, he probably takes them. But yeah, and Wan-Bissaka, the highest owned defender in the game. Diouf has really caught my eye for West Ham as a wing back, but I understand Wan-Bissaka for other reasons. Mate, talk to me about Aït-Nouri though, because you've got Tarkowski in place. When we look at the best defenses from last season, if I take XGC and goals conceded and clean sheets, the best defenses in the league were Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City. You could also ask Chelsea, kept the third amount of goals conceded. Only Liverpool and Arsenal conceded more. So you're deciding in your 6 million bracket here, do you go for an Arsenal defender? You can't go Liverpool. Do you go Arsenal, Chelsea, you go for a Cucurella, a Gabriel, or a Man City defender? Why City over Arsenal and Chelsea defenders out of interest?
Chelsea, I'm not sure on their defence. I think that's their weakest area of the pitch. They've not got especially with Colwill out, they've not really got like a main centre back. Generally, the top teams have like a number one centre back who you're like, he's excellent. And Chelsea don't really have that. Even with Colwill in the team, I wouldn't say he's there yet to say that. And then I also don't really like Sanchez as a keeper from the amount of mistakes that he makes. So that kind of rules out Chelsea. Arsenal, if they had better fixtures, I would probably go Gabriel or Saliba over Aït-Nouri if they had a good run of fixtures. But they've got fixtures that I just think they'll concede in. So that kind of ruled them out from the start, but not to say that they wouldn't come in. So Aït-Nouri got the kind of nod, and I've been waiting for a reason to switch him to Gvardiol, but the reason hasn't really happened. So Aït-Nouri now feels like quite an exciting pick where as long as he starts, which is always going to be, I'm sweating over a little bit each game week, especially at the start, but I'll be really excited to see him play for City with the hope of clean sheet plus attacking returns.
Yeah, I like that. I think going back to Wolves as well, game week 1 for Aït-Nouri. And then look, I definitely see goals for City. Wolves, Tottenham, Brighton, United, first 4. I think Aït-Nouri is a fantastic pick. This is from Scout, by the way, the ticker. I've filtered it on attacking difficulty. But if you want to know more about Scout, or you want to check out the DEFCON, the defensive contribution points we've just spoken about, you can go check them out. Like, there's a QR code on screen, a discount code if you're a viewer of mine with the code on for 5%. So yeah, check it out. A link in the description, QR code. I'll leave the QR code up. But let's move on to your midfield. Saka. I'm jealous. I completely understand why Saka would be in so many teams, but he's not made any of mine, and he's not going to be in mine because I guess I'm looking at the fixtures going, I don't fancy Arsenal at the start of the season. We just saw their fixtures. Like, they are right at the bottom of the ticker. Man United is fine though. Leeds is great, but then it's Liverpool, Forest, Man City. But I still expect Saka to deliver in any of these games. So are you set on Saka? Because at 10 million, he feels like a proper good differential.
Yeah, he's one of the ones who just generally at the start of the season, I put Saka in there at the start. He's priced, you know, he's going to be about 10 mil. He could have been 10.5 mil, so I feel like I've got him a little cheaper at 10 mil. There was no chance of him being 9.5 mil. So I just feel he's a good price for someone who can go on a run of, you know, 3 double figures in 5 game weeks sort of thing. He's goal and assists player. And I think even though those fixtures are tough for Arsenal to maybe win them all or win, you know, most of them, I think there's goals there for Arsenal in those fixtures. So it's more on the defensive side that I don't like Arsenal, but on the attacking side, I don't mind them too much. And then unless it's got to the stage of wild card and things like that, then I would already have Saka in place for better fixtures coming on the way. But I think there's still a few goals and assists there for him in the first few games.
Yeah, I'm with you. Palmer, we don't need to discuss. Game's most popular asset now, by the way, overtaken Mo Salah, and Palmer's going to be... I see why he's in everyone's team. I can't wait to get your thoughts on Dewsbury-Hall in a minute. Everton fan Ben. Rodgers, let's not worry about until we know more about his status. Emery will probably tell us more in the press conference. Definitely be asked about it, but we got to wait for the press conference. My inkling is he'll probably be fine because he's so robust. But Cunha, 8 million, proper differential here. Not tempted on a Sesko or an Mbermo. Obviously, Bruno's a lot more money, but you like this Cunha pick, do you? Or are you still toying with it? Because again, when we look at the Man United fixtures, they are middling. Arsenal, Fulham, Burnley's great, and then Man City, Chelsea.
I'm a little torn on him. I do like him, but I have recently, a little bit like with Tarkovsky, I'm wondering if I try and push for Fernandes in that place. So it would be 1 million. I've got 500,000 in the bank at the moment. And so it's a little bit, where could I get that other 500,000 from? Is it worth squeezing someone down to do Cunha to Fernandes? I'm probably thinking, given Man U's fixtures are a little iffy, I would rather only have 8 mil invested in them than 9 mil at the start, especially if I'm going to have to downgrade someone. So I will probably stick with Cunha. And I do think, again, he's a player that I can see like braces from. If Man U do well, I can see that he gets 2 goals in games. He's a player that I do like, so I'll probably stick with him. But there is very much a thought to try and get Fernandes in.
8 million on United attacking Cunha. You could go 7.5 in their attack for Sesko. Any sort of thoughts on Sesko? You just want to wait and see him in the team, and obviously we're questioning his minutes game week 1 as well.
Yeah, he's one of those that just feels too risky for game week 1. I don't see him starting, and so yeah, I can't pick him game week 1, but 7.5, he could easily become like in everyone's team at 7.5 million. I'm a little surprised he's not like 8, but we'll see. I mean, maybe just the way Man U forwards have been the last few years, they've not been great picks. So he might have a little bit of battling, a little time to settle in, but he's someone to keep an eye on. I just don't think game week 1, I don't think there's any chance that you can get him in.
Yeah, okay. We're going to talk about your front line now, and you've got, like, as I fully expected, you've got like a great array of attacking players, and midfield's great, but your forwards are even better. One forward that's in this draft, and he was in your draft when we spoke weeks ago, but I think he's reinforced it even more, was Joao Pedro, just because the pre-season form has been so good. I tweeted earlier, he's averaging a goal every 50 minutes. That's clearly not sustainable. But even if he was averaging a goal every 90, you'd be very happy. He's played 250 minutes in a Chelsea shirt and got 5 goals, 3 of the Club World Cup games, the 2 friendlies over the weekend. When forwards are hot and there's momentum with them, it just makes sense. My concern with Joao Pedro is I know he's not going to play 90 minutes. Delap's going to get cameos. But is 70 minutes of Joao Pedro better than 90 minutes of a Mateta or a Chris Wood? I think it could be for the early season fixtures. I mean, where are you at with Joao Pedro?
After the first video, I had swapped Joao Pedro for Solanke. And then because of Solanke's minutes, and a bit of faith that Thomas Frank gets the best out of his number nines kind of thing. But obviously Solanke doesn't look like he's going to start the season. So Joao Pedro came back in, and there has been a thought. I mean, I think he's safe to start the season with. I'm not going to regret playing him, I think, at the start, because there's reasons to do it. His minutes might become an issue, but at the same time, if he's scoring and he's playing well, then he's always going to start. And if Chelsea get the game wrapped up early enough, it's more just I'm willing to give him a bit of time to see how many points he gets, regardless of how many minutes he plays. It's how many points does he get across those games. So I think I'll leave it for now. If Solanke was fit, though, I would be playing Solanke game week 1. There has been a recent thought, because when I kind of brought Tarkowski in, you start tweaking this, and then you wonder what you could do with this $500,000. Is I wonder if Fulkrug, surprisingly, at West Ham. I was looking at his record, and before he joined West Ham, he's actually got quite a good record, and I think he maybe finished the season quite well, and apparently he's been quite good pre-season.
3 goals, I think.
He's only 6 mil.
Yeah.
And he's kind of one of those that if I did Joao Pedro to him, I can get Fernandes. And there was a little bit of then when you think a little further along, I would only be $500,000 away from doing Dewsbury-Hall to Grealish.
Right.
So Grealish isn't an option for game week 1, I don't think, because as far as I know, he's not played any preseason games or anything like that. I imagine he's going to be on the bench at best.
Yeah.
But
I don't even think he went to the Club World Cup. So yeah, good point. Yeah.
So I think I think Joao Pedro probably keeps his place for me because it feels a little too risky. But there was just a little. I do quite like the idea of having Grealish in my team, and I quite like the idea of Fernandes. Fulkrug would be a bit of a risk, but I don't know. I think he could be quite good.
Massive. I think in Fulkrug.
Joao Pedro's just a bit safer to begin with. I'm not going to. I could regret getting rid of Joao Pedro now, whereas I'm not going to regret kind of not putting Fulkrug in. I'm safe with that decision, but Joao Pedro feels like at 7.5, I should start with him at least. If he disappoints, I'm not going to regret it.
My problem with the Fulkrugs and the Igor Thiagos and the 6 million guys, are they going to outscore 5.5 James Tarkowski? Or 5.5 Murillo. I don't think they are. I think the centre-backs will outscore a Fulkrug or an Igor Thiago. But yeah, Fulkrug's been in and out my team a week, so I hear you. All right, let's see the front line. We know Joao Pedro's in for now. You've got 2 other big names next to him. And guys, if you enjoyed the video, thank you for liking. I'd love to get it to 1,000. But also, most importantly, thank you for hitting that subscribe button today. Let's see the front line then, because you've got 2 9 million forwards. Everyone's got feels like they've got 1 9 million, and then it's proper budget. The no Haaland, no Salah draft. This is the biggest win for me. And in a minute, we'll go through who's locked, and we'll talk about your structure, and we'll talk about chips. But having Watkins and Gyokeres, that's nice. You must. I'm guessing for you, Watkins is locked. Is Gyokeres locked?
Yeah, I don't unless something, an injury or some kind of news. But they've been locked. I mean, as soon as Gyokeres signed, he was straight in there, and Watkins has been in there from the start because I just think he's really consistent, ticking along. He's almost not very captainable very often, but he's just very consistent, goals and assists.
Yeah.
So looking at the signings Villa have made, and maybe more importantly not made, it kind of feels like he's back in the favoured number 9. He should be starting, and when he starts at Villa, then he generally does well. So I don't know why there was messing about with him, but I'm very happy to have Watkins in my team, and then Gyokeres as well. Just an exciting player. Maybe he takes a bit of time to adjust. There is a little bit more risk there, I think, than with Watkins. But at the same time, Arteta had some big things to say about him after the game that he had scored in. He's a pretty clinical header that he scored the other day, and I think I think Arsenal will be coming into the season with a lot of optimism, and so I think there's chances there for Gyokeres that he'll have over those first few games, and I guess I'm just backing him to score some of those chances.
Yeah, I absolutely think he will. I think he's a great pick. And by the way, Watkins, 16 goals last year, but it's worth noting he has outscored Erling Haaland in the last 2 seasons in FPL. So yeah, lovely, great picks, mate. I never asked you. Did I ask you about Dewsbury-Hall?
No, only
Didn't I? No. So Everton fan on Dewsbury-Hall. Where's he going to play?
I think he's likely, now that we're seemingly getting Grealish, I think Grealish will play 10 and Dewsbury-Hall will drop down alongside Idrissa Gueye and take over more James Garner's position. So I see him playing there. I think, Grealish could get subbed off a lot and maybe he's a touch injury prone. So Dewsbury-Hall might play some games at 10, but I think he'll like him a little bit deeper as a kind of combative player, box to box, and a good passer from deep, more feeding Grealish. He's been on some set pieces, and Grealish is very good at winning set pieces, winning free kicks. So Dewsbury-Hall might have a bit of assist potential there. And likewise, Everton defenders might have slightly more chances each game to kind of get a head on something. Tarkowski, Branthwaite, and O'Brien possibly look a little more better with Grealish in the team from that point of view. But I think it'll be Ndiaye left because he's been good there. When he's played elsewhere, he's only had the odd bit of time there, but he just looks better on the left. So I don't think Moyes will mess about with that and push Grealish there, especially with how he kind of was stuck out wide at City. I think you get Grealish involved, you get him on the ball as much as possible. So I would like to see him 10, and I think Moyes will play him 10.
Interesting. I like that. Dewsbury-Hall will bet for DEFCON deeper. Maybe fewer goal involvements playing as an 8, not a 10, but worth noting he will play 8 or 10, or maybe a mixture of 2, depending on game state and stuff. And at 5 million, I think he's a great own. I'm torn on the 5 millions. I like Dewsbury-Hall. I like Xhaka. Is for you, is Dewsbury-Hall going to be a absolutely nailed, position dependent, but absolutely in the team every week? Because Garner and Gueye have been a good duo. Is there reason to break it up, or are you confident that Dewsbury-Hall has been given some sort of assurance and the money they've spent on him, he's in the 11 every week?
I think he's in the 11 every week. I think he will definitely be a Moyes type player. He played really well. He was our best player against Roma the other day, and I think the fact that he's just better than James Garner in kind of every way, sort of thing. So I don't see him really competing with him. And I think kind of attitude wise, it wouldn't surprise me if Moyes has kind of given him a bit of a, you could play yourself into the World Cup squad. Like it's never sort of, if you've got a whole season, that's plenty time to get yourself there. So I think he'll be kind of giving him that challenge and have told him, I will play you. If you play well, then I'll play you. And I think he'll start the season strong and continue. Whether I play him, he's more going to be my first sub, second sub most games. Maybe if Rodgers was just out, I'd be okay playing him against Leeds because I do want Rodgers. So I wouldn't particularly want to swap Rodgers for another player to then bring him back. If I knew it was only going to be one game out, I'd probably just keep Rodgers and play Dewsbury-Hall. But I think in terms of Everton's starting 11, I personally think Dewsbury-Hall's locked in there.
I like the double ups you've got in attack. Yes, Dewsbury-Hall and Cunha. But then you go, if Chelsea scores, a good chance Joao Pedro Palmer could be involved together. One gets the goal, one gets the assist. Same for Arsenal, Saka Gyokeres. Same for Villa, Rodgers Watkins. Those duos, it's all or nothing, but that's how you can win FPL, right? It's playing a bit differently. It's some of the eggs in baskets. It's big commitment. So I'm liking the shape of this team very much, mate. Like it's got, obviously, Liverpool, it's the elephant in the room. It's not got Haaland, but it's got everyone else, especially if you manage to get Bruno in instead of Cunha. I want to ask you about who's locked. So let's just go through the lock names in a sec. But before I do, any thoughts on chips? I know from our chat last time, you're not bookmarking in a bench booster or wildcard, are you? It's more reacting to it if and when.
Yeah, I'm not particularly got any thoughts yet. I'll see. When I was tweaking a little bit, and when it kind of goes down the Fernandes, Fulkrug, if I could get it, Grealish in there, I was almost thinking, do I try and push a bench boost game week 1 here actually? But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it game week 1, and then I've not got any plan to do it at a particular time. I'll see when the kind of whipping boys merge, and then see if there's a team that it looks like, okay, you can get some cheap players who are playing them and they can be kind of your bench players. But, like say, if Brighton are playing Burnley at home and you're suddenly like, oh, Brighton are going to smash Burnley here, you can get in a few Brighton players reasonably nicely priced and then bench boost that week kind of thing is more my thought. So I'll be reactive for now rather than plan it in.
Mate, I've spoken to 4 previous winners and you've all got a lot in common in how you play, but all of you are not bookmarking in a wildcard or a bench boost. If you were to take 4 content creators on YouTube, over half of them, maybe 2 or 3 of them would have at least one of those things bookmarked. You've made me realise, actually, probably better reacting because we don't know what we're going to get. And I think that's a really interesting take from the winners, that they're all in a similar boat there. I've gone from committing to what I thought I'd committing to a 2 or bench boost 2 or bench boost 3 week to actually not. And I think I'm just going to play it week to week. Who's locked then? Can you give us the names of the locked players? And I'm going to count out how many. It might be 3, it might be 13. Let's just see how many you think are. You could safely say, come Friday the 15th at 6:30 UK time, these will be in my game at one team.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure that I'm going to have Sells, Dubravka, Wan-Bissaka, Aït-Nouri, Tarkovsky, and Estevie. Saka, Rodgers, Palmer, Dewsbury-Hall, Gyokeres, Watkins. I would say that is. I'd be surprised if any of them changed. Even the likes of Joao Pedro and Cunha are probably going to stay in, but there is just a little bit do a try and work Fernandes in there. I think that's almost the Goalkeepers of 4.5 mil. I'll sort that out. It might not be him, it might be, but I think the Joao Pedro, he probably is the make weight if I go for Fernandes. Otherwise, I just keep it as it is. I'd say I'm 75% just going to keep it as it is there, but there is a little bit I would quite like Fernandes.
Mate, I love that. You're a clear thinker. You're not someone that's going to do 1,000 drafts. We spoke 2 weeks ago and your team hasn't changed that much. You've just given me 12 names there that no one's going to hold you to this, but that are locked in. And even some of those that aren't, your Joao Pedros, your De Kuipers, your Cunhas, there's a very good chance you end up going with them anyway. So yeah, love that. Mate, that really helps the viewers out when looking at their teams. Watch this space, guys. Ben, thank you so much for coming on the channel, and I hope to catch you again throughout the season and obviously touch base. But yeah, if you want to show some love to Ben, you can by liking, subscribing, and of course dropping a comment. We'll see you for another video in about 12 hours time. Bye bye.